So the main things inside the cab is going to be is obviously your horns. So making sure your city horn is audible within, I want to say like 100 feet, either 75 feet or 150 feet. It's got to be audible. So if it's audible within 100 feet, then you're good. You have your air horn right here. It's pretty loud, but you gotta make sure that works as well. So it's audible, so it works. And the main thing is going to be your defrost, and then checking you're doing your 1 minute brake test on the brakes. So for the defrost, I know on the Volvos it takes some time for all those motors and stuff to actually actuate and switch over from AC to defrost. So that's what we've been finding out is it takes probably like a minute and a half for this to go over to. So just want to make sure your defrost is working. That's a DOT issue. That's something that they're going to be checking out for. Make sure your defrost works. AC is not DOT. Just your defrost. So if you have no AC, that's not a DOT violation. But if you have no AC and no defrost, that's an issue. So you're just checking, make sure you have defrost. All your vents are cleared. And that's just for you guys so you can see when it's foggy outside and foggy inside. And then the last thing is going to be checking your air pressures. So like I said, whenever you guys supply air to the trailer, you want to keep these applied if you're going to check anything on the trailer side. So whenever you apply or you release your trailer brakes, it's going to supply air to the trailer. So then that's going to air up your airbag to the low, and then that's going to pretty much release the brakes on the trailer. So if you do that, you see your gauges go down because then it's inflating the trailer. So that should be the leveling valve, airing up the airbags. So if that's the case, sometimes DOT officers are kind of, if they hear an audible air leak, and sometimes it could just be the bags leveling out still, which by the time they get to that point, then everything should already be settled out. So yeah, that should just be the airbags inflating on the trailer, because now that hissing is getting right. But if you're just checking the truck side, you would apply those, and then so like if you're parked overnight and you lost some air pressure, you always want to do your 1 minute brake test with the air all the way aired up. So I'm going to turn it on now. It should only take about a minute or two for the air to inflate. And then another thing they'll check out for is to make sure your low air light is working, and that your protection valve is going to pop out at around like 20 or 30 psi. Because once it gets down to 20 or 30 psi, the truck's going to say, hey, you don't have enough air pressure to actually stop the truck, so it'll pop it out automatically, which I've never seen happen before. But that's just something, it's just a safety feature, but you want to make sure it works whenever you're doing your pre and post trip. I don't know if that's your air governor. That's your purge valve. So it's at 120 psi. When you hear that go off, so then your tanks are all the way aired up. So I'll turn it off, and then put the key back in the on position. And then usually what I'll do my 1 minute brake test first. So I'll release the tractor brakes, and you'll hear some hissing out here, and then it'll stop, and then you apply your foot brake, and then after 1 minute you shouldn't be losing any more than 3 psi of pressure in that 1 minute. Usually if you have an air leak that's that bad, you'll see the needle just constantly just moving. But usually when you have it aired up to 120, you release the brakes and you apply the foot brake. It's usually going to drop down to 100 psi. Is usually where I find they usually stop at. So you're just looking at your gauges and making sure that you're not losing any more than 3 psi within that 1 minute of your brake test. This is something that we check out when we do the PMs at the shop. Is we do this 1 minute brake test as well. So you're just checking to make sure that you're not losing, again, more than 3 psi. Because most trucks nowadays, they have a 2-tank system. They have a primary and secondary. If you guys, for whatever reason, had a single tank, it would be 2 psi within that 1 minute. And this is holding air. So then what I do now is I check the low air warning, and to make sure this is popping out when it gets down to that 20 psi. So the fastest way to do it, so it'll pop up, low air or brake air pressure is low, and then there'll be a warning light that pops up, and you keep on going. And then this will pop out. Usually if this doesn't pop out and it comes out slowly, that's something that we need to address. Because usually the park brake valve is sticking. It's just O-rings in here. So these O-rings start going bad, and then it just, over time, they just get worn out. So if it slowly comes out, that's something like, hey, you know, I did my brake test and it's not popping out, it's just slowly coming out. That's something like, hey, we probably need to get this replaced. But that's something that we keep an eye out for on the PM service as well. So if we see that, then we'll write it up, and then we'll probably swap out this MV3 valve. But that's mostly it. And then last thing really is just going to be wipers. Making sure they're spraying. Oh, sorry. But you just want to make sure they're spraying. That's pretty much it. And then as far as windshields go, if you have a crack that's more than 6 inches, that's a violation. Doesn't matter if it's on the driver's side or passenger side. And then if you have a rock chips are okay. But if they get to be bigger than a quarter, then that's a DOT violation, and that's something that we got to get replaced as well. So usually most rock chips, they'll just be a rock chip and they won't spider out. But when they start spidering out and they get bigger than that quarter, then that's when we need to set up an appointment for a windshield to get replaced. That's pretty much all of the DOT items.